As a celebrity, there's always going to be eyes on you. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. I'm your host Dana, and today we are getting into the top 10 leaked videos that destroyed celebrities' career. Starting off strong, we have Pam Anderson. Pam got her breakthrough role starring in the series Baywatch alongside David Hasselhoff. Back in the day, she made the front pages of newspapers, and she was the headline after it was announced that she would be marrying Tommy Lee from Motley Crue on a beach in Mexico after dating for just 4 days. They went on to have 2 sons before divorcing in 1998. Before the couple split, something pretty wild happened. So wild that there is now a TV series on Disney Plus documenting the scandal from start to finish. A former disgruntled worker broke into the safe in their home, which contained an over 1 hour long tape of the two of them getting busy. Anderson and Lee did everything they could to stop the tape from being released to the public, but the worker was able to get a distribution company and the tape was officially leaked. Anderson sued the company, but the tape was eventually digitalized and released online. At that point, there was nothing she could do. She has never seen it and she still has never made a dollar. Eventually, she got a hold of the employee, got everything settled, and the shenanigans were stopped. She got pregnant with her first child during this time, and she told the media outlets that she would no longer be going to court, no more dispositions from weird lawyers. Her career was not going super far after Baywatch. It's a decent show, but it is not an Oscar-worthy performance. Next up, we have Kim Kardashian. Only a couple of years after the whole Pam Anderson Tommy Lee tape leak, Kim Kardashian found herself in a similar situation with her boo at the time, Ray J. In October of 2002, the couple decided to go to Cabo, Mexico, taking a luxury vacation to a resort to celebrate Kim's 23rd birthday. They took a handheld camera with them and filmed themselves doing all kinds of wacky stuff, playing on the beach, chilling in the villa, getting busy in their hotel room. Those tapes remained a secret for 5 years before being sold to the X-rated video company Vivid Entertainment as a 41-minute movie featuring Kim Kardashian. Kim got wind, and much like Pamela Anderson, she attempted to sue the company. But here's where things get a little weird. So as we all know, this did not ruin her career, it somehow gave her a boost. Over the years, more and more information has come to the light, and so far it's looking like there's a really good chance that Kim herself leaked the video to get her name in the headlines. Her lawyer insisted that Kim had no knowledge of the leak and never does things to purposely get her name in the media. Kim denied everything over and over again and still does to this day. Kim was reportedly paid $5 million for the company to get permission to distribute the tape. That tape is still out there somewhere in the world. Then we have Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, Hollywood has loved him, hated him, praised him, and disowned him for many reasons. Mel was accused of being a terrible partner, committing multiple acts of violence and mental manipulation. During their court proceedings following the announcement of their divorce, audio was leaked to the public as a conversation between Mel and his ex was brought into evidence. The audio contained a clear recording of Mel Gibson shouting at his ex, being a misogynistic jerk, and casually throwing around racial slurs during a tire that was launched against the mother of a 9-month-old child. He called her a bunch of really awful names that I cannot repeat and honestly do not deserve to be repeated. Mel went off, and I truly had to stop reading the script from the trial because it was just so messed up. This dude is evil and vile and has zero control of his own emotions. There was a massive debate between Mel and the court crew on what could be done about this and who leaked the audio. He then blamed Jewish people for being behind the plot. This dude has been in like no movies since the audio was leaked, apart from Daddy's Home 2 and Something About Santa. It's safe to say he ruined his own career and there was no one else to blame. Following that up, we have David Hasselhoff, yet another Baywatch member on the list. It's unfortunate to see a big 90s star go down the drain. His career was already slow going, seeing as his roles weren't as big or as successful, but when his daughter captured a video of him at his worst, it was even harder to watch. David and his family have all said that he's had issues with drinking and overdoing it. However, he did say he was going to quit and had been doing fairly well for a while too, until his daughter caught him on camera lying shirtless on the floor of his hotel room, very aggressively eating a burger and cussing her out. She then released the tape onto the internet to show people how bad he had really gotten, and hoped that because the world knew how bad it would convince him to do better. It was actually David's idea to have her film too, so that to see himself when he knew he wouldn't remember it in the morning. So while his career was already careening, people saw who he was at that point in time and haven't seen him the same since. Then we have Donald Trump. With a name as big as his, it's almost hard to find a place to start. As a political figure, everything he does and says is either recorded or witnessed. And that's part of the whole problem. He has little to no filter. He's talked about building a wall to separate them from their neighboring country, he talked about his opinions on immigration policies, and about his relationship with different people of different cultures. He's made seriously questionable comments on global warming and claimed it was created by China to make the factory business less competitive, and believes that one of the big problems in America is political correctness, which he doesn't have much of. And the tweeting. He was posting multiple tweets a day, and half of them were nonsense, or trash-talking his political opponents, or his very strong opinions. He really messed himself up with the tweeting. Recently, he was arrested for multiple different legal issues, and his mugshot blew up the internet. Like, people were getting it printed on t-shirts and everything. He attempted to make America great again, and instead, he got a mugshot, so many memes about him, and a joke for a career. Next is Michael Richards. His career began to take off starring as Cosmo Kramer in Seinfeld, and basically ended when he was fired as an executive producer of Jeopardy! But there was some moments in between that put every single nail in the coffin. It started back in 2006 when he went on an extremely racist tangent during the Laugh Factory when colored members of the audience were heckling him. No one found that funny. But he did have a chance to change this. In fact, Jerry Seinfeld himself requested that David Letterman bring him onto the late night show so that he could formally apologize for his explosive rant. Well, he didn't really apologize. He just kind of rambled and glossed over the apologies. The crowd kind of laughed because they thought it was a bit, when in reality, he just wasn't all there. There was a few more times where he was given the opportunity to publicly apologize, but all of them were at half effort and could barely even be considered an apology. His career ended fairly quickly, and he has been almost off the radar, even though it's been over 15 years since the incident. To follow that up, we have Shia Labeouf. His career started when he was just a kid on the Disney show The Even Stevens, and he was also in the movie adaptation of Holes. When he was still young, he was also in Transformers, which became an instant hit. But like a lot of young actors, fame got to his head, and for the worst no less. In 2013, he got into a very heated argument with his co-star Alec Baldwin, and apparently he got a little physical with him, all over lines that he hadn't memorized. He also wore a paper bag over his head that said "I'm not famous anymore" to a red carpet event in 2014. He was arrested for smoking in a theater, and was arrested in Vancouver for trying to fight a bunch of locals while being heavily under the influence. He was also arrested at a bowling alley for causing a huge scene over french fries while intoxicated. He's also been accused a few different times by many people for being very violent towards them, two of which being previous relationships. His career ended very abruptly, and he just went down a really bad path in life. Following that, we have Tiger Woods. He was one of the most known golfers in the world. He won 3 career Grand Slams in the first 5 years of his career, and he was the youngest and fastest person to complete 50 tournament wins while on tour. His career was booming right from the start, but his career began to decline in 2008 when he had a major injury to his back and his game wasn't nearly as good. He was also arrested for a DUI charge, and in 2009 he was accused of cheating with many different people from a New York nightclub. When the news broke of this situation, he claimed he was taking an indefinite break from professional golf. There was a few minor things that happened between 2010 and 2016, but in 2017 he finally got the 4th surgery on his back that was supposed to help with the lingering pain. And just a few months after that, he was arrested for a DUI once again, after being found asleep at the wheel of his car and failing multiple sobriety tests. In 2021, he was in another almost fatal crash once again, and has finally been able to swing properly again, but knows his career will never be at the height it used to be. Second to last, we have Christian Bale. He played some really iconic roles, considering he was in Terminator Salvation, he was Batman in 2005, and he was in American Psycho, as well as many others. But one of his mental breaks while he was on set led him to being removed from roles, and that's why Hollywood stopped casting him as well. He's also known for being a method actor, so while filming American Psycho, he was described as incredibly intense, and made a lot of the crew members nervous as they didn't quite know how to interact with him. But the real stake in his career was when he screamed at crew members for while being hooked up to a live mic. A member of the audio crew recorded him screaming at the other crew members and posted the video on YouTube with subtitles. He absolutely loses his cool for something rather small that could be fixed and reshot. That was where his career began to decline, and probably for good reason. And last but not least, we have Monica Lewinsky. She takes first place on the list because she had an affair with former President Bill Clinton back in the 90s, and was exposed to the world in 1998. This caused a legal investigation, recorded conversations that exposed them further. A long series of legal events happened, and she agreed to testify before the grand jury, and even handed over a blue dress that she claimed she wore while they were having one of their scandalous moments. Because of this, she was granted immunity and tried her best to go back to her normal life. She was hounded by paparazzi for a while afterwards as well, but ultimately just took a step back from everything and remained silent for years about the situation. In her TED Talk, she claims she regrets what happened, and that it is a constant reminder of her grave mistake, and she has not been able to fully recover since. And that has been our list for today. If there was anyone you think we missed, you can let us know in the comments down below, and if you are looking for daily celebrity content, you should follow the channel. This has been Beyond the Screen, and thank you so much for watching.